Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Otakuology Podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike, and with me as always is Jen. He's an MTV punk Graves.
What's up?
And today we are on the penultimate episode of Season 2 of Stranger Things, Episode 9, The Gate.
Yeah.
That was a really delayed reaction.
Well, I already said something and I was like, oh, so you're going to say something else. But no. So I just want to say up front, so what's your rating for this? I feel like we should do that since this is the last episode.
Rating?
What's your rating out of 5?
I give it a solid 4.
Okay.
Like, I didn't hate it. Like, I didn't realize it was over an hour long.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to say 4.5.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely comes together in this last episode. But there's some stuff that I do want to talk about for this episode when we get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, which I'll let you know what it is when we cover it and stuff.
Okay.
It's a specific scene.
Okay. Well, so our first thing that we have here is where we pick up from the last one, which again, it is good, especially for you. Not to bust your balls or anything, that we do have a straightforward storyline at this point.
I know.
And so we pick up from the last one of where 11 had basically killed and attacked the Demodogs. And
we're in
she
the
comes
fallout
in
of this episode right now.
Do what?
We're in the fallout from last episode.
Yeah. So she walks in and everybody sees her and it's like, oh my God, it's 11. And they kind of give her the spiel of what it is. Mike runs up and gives her a hug. Jim wants to know what kind of happened, but we don't really have that long of a reunion, I feel like, before it's like, hey, we have a lot of shit we need to sort out in like the next 5 minutes.
Yeah,
because there's not really that long before things happen.
And we get the sort of like the fallout of this part with Mike and Hopper. Or Mike just gets mad at Hopper. He's like, you fucking lied to me. You fucking lied to me. And I have to say, I don't know if it's just this episode and Mike, but when he's like having his little temper tantrum and like with Hopper in the other room, it makes me like Mike less.
I tend to have to agree with you. Mike, I know, tries to be like the leader in basically all the episodes or all the seasons. But this one really just made Mike seem like he was more of a side character.
Yeah, and they get sidelined. They get sidelined pretty hard.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, we have that. 11 hugs him, 11 hugs Dustin, 11 hugs Lucas.
She fucking gives Max the cold shoulder.
Yeah. So she gives Max the cold shoulder, which, I mean, I think that's from like episode 2 where like we do know, or 2 or 3, where we know where Max talked to Mike. And so 11 was like, oh, she's trying to like get with him.
She's gotta try to get with my man.
Yeah, and then she pushed her over on the board.
Yeah,
with her powers. Yeah, and then she walks past her and everything and goes and hugs Joyce, and then sees unconscious Will, and they're like, "Hey, we got to basically close the gate."
Did Joyce ever see 11 in the first season? Like, did she ever interact with 11?
I think right at the end.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think she ever had any interactions with 11.
I don't remember.
Because, like, playing it back in my head, I don't think she did. Because she was so, like, caught up with Will and stuff, you know? Like, but then she goes right up to him and like up to or 11 goes right up to Joyce and like she's like, I want to see like Will. But like it was just it was just something that I thought about.
Yeah. Well, I think the only time she really did was when they were like right before. Remember when Dustin called Mr. Clark, and so 11 was there with everybody. I think Joyce knew her from that, and she knew her from when they had the pool in the gym.
But was
But
she
that's it.
there?
Yeah, Joyce was there.
Joyce was there?
Yeah, because that was right
Okay.
before
Okay.
her and Hopper left to go back to the lab.
Okay.
Um, so I mean, like, no, we didn't get like a lot of stuff, but that's what we got. So no, I don't think Joyce was like that big of a pivotal member in the first season for that. So it did seem a little weird. Maybe it was just because it was all the people that she knew.
Maybe.
Um, and of course they talk about, hey, we need to go basically take Will somewhere where he's not going to know. So Hopper offers up the cabin because as far as anybody knows, only Hopper and Elle know where that's at. He tells them that so that they can go try and figure out how to get the mind flare out of Will, which is by like stacking as much wood as they can in the wood stove, turning on all the heaters,
Yeah.
and
It was kind of like when we get to this point, 'cause we also see like Nancy and Steve like going through like a pile of junk in the backyard.
yeah,
And I was like, where did all this stuff? Because we saw the Christmas lights, but I was
yeah.
like, where did all the heaters come from?
The heaters he already had because the heaters were at Hopper's house
Okay.
or at the cabin. The pile of stuff that they were going through was all the stuff that was taken out from the shed.
Oh yes, I forgot they emptied out the
Yeah,
shed. I forgot that.
yeah. But Steve told her to go right before Jonathan and
Joyce.
Joyce left, and so he was like, "You might as well just go with them, Nancy."
I
Like,
actually really like this scene.
I love this scene.
Yeah, I really like it because it very much brings Steve's redemption arc full circle. I feel like
I agree.
from
I agree.
season one.
It's yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Especially one line,
yeah. Like I was a
and
shitty boyfriend, but I'm a good
I yeah,
babysitter.
I like yeah. I may not have been a good boyfriend, but hey, doing this, I'm finding out I'm a good babysitter.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, like that was a very pivotal moment, I think, in this for a lot of reasons. Um, and of course, later on, the way he stands up to Billy, that will come up at some point. But everybody kind of goes off. 11 and Hopper go off towards the labs because they're going to close
the gate.
the gate. Joyce, Nancy, and Jonathan all head out to the cabin to try and heat Will up to basically try and
Yeah,
get the mind flayer to
they
leave
like
his body.
strap him down.
Yeah, because they're like, if we don't do this, then if we completely close the gate off, then what if Will is just going to turn around and die? So
Yeah,
they want to extract the mind flayer out before that happens.
yeah.
Um, so we get all that. Then we'll jump away from this real
We
quick
go to
as we go to the Wheeler
the
house.
Wheeler house. This is the scene I want to talk about.
Okay. So Karen is in the tub with
Yes,
wine,
she is.
uh, reading a smutty like Fabio book.
Yeah, she has a lot of candles.
Yeah, she has a lot of candles and stuff,
She
and
set the mood.
somebody is ringing the doorbell.
Yes,
Like,
and Ted is fucking knocked out in his recliner.
yes, Ted's out. She keeps yelling at Ted, "Hey Ted, can you get that? Hey Ted, can you get that?"
Ted, get it.
Yeah. Doesn't happen. But Karen finally gets out of the bath, puts her robe on, goes downstairs, opens the door,
And it's Billy.
and is like, "Oh my god, here's the guy that basically kind of represents the guy that was on the cover of her book.
Yeah. She was. I think he was eye fucking her, but she was eye fucking him at this point.
I don't think he was doing that to her, per se. And we'll get to a point where I can actually talk about that more because I don't want to spoil it at the current moment.
Okay.
But I think it's kind of a ruse for him
Oh, like he
to
was
do
just
that.
playing the part
He was playing the part,
to get
yes. And
the information.
I really would have liked to know how his interaction with the Sinclairs went.
Oh
Because
yes.
we know Billy can put on like that fake smile and things like that, but like Billy's diehard racist. So,
I would love to have seen that scene, like him and Erica.
oh my gosh, if she was even there,
Yeah, yeah.
like um, because if not, I mean, like him trying to talk to Miss Sinclair or Mister Sinclair, like I think that would have been crazy.
Yeah, especially with like Mr. Sinclair in the military.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah, would have knocked his dick in the ground.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, but Billy comes to the Wheelers. Nancy, does that. She had some cookies she made, offers him that. She draws him a map to the buyer's house.
yeah.
And so after all these different people leave, um, it's Steve and all the kids are talking about, oh, we shouldn't leave because if we go back out to the field where we know that tunnel is that Hopper went down to, that maybe we can cause a distraction and make it easier for L to basically close the gate and for them to help get the mind flayer out of Will.
I wanted to ask you a question though.
Okay.
Do you think if Ted was not in the house, Mrs. Wheeler would try to fuck Billy?
I don't think at this current moment.
Because she looked like she was ready to jump his bone.
Yeah, I don't think so at the current moment.
Maybe in season 3.
I don't think it's set in for her yet, just how she doesn't, like, she cares, but I think it's fling.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's more of the older, like, cougar lady right now that's kind of like she's going to sit there and have the guy at the bar, like, hit on her and
Like
make
the
her feel
fantasy
pretty.
aspect.
Yeah, make her feel pretty and all this other stuff, but she's not going to cross that line yet.
Like, I really thought, like, I was like, I think Miss Wheeler's gonna like rip his jeans off.
Yeah. Well, the way that I feel like Karen is like regardless if Ted was there or not, she knows that he's asleep and all that. And I mean, she's a pretty independent woman, I feel like.
We find out later, yes, she is.
I don't think she would have cared if Ted was in the house or not. If she wanted to, I think she would have slept with Billy. I think she just also has standards, and so that hasn't crossed her mind as of yet.
Like, he's just eye candy.
Yeah, he's just eye candy right now.
She probably went back to her book.
Yeah, she probably was like, "Oh, I gotta go hop back in the hot tub and read my book some more." So we have that, but we have where Billy left and Steve is there with talking to all the kids and whatnot, and he's basically shooting down the idea. No, we're not going to go do this. We're supposed to stay here. I'm supposed to be the one to protect y'all. I've told Joyce and Hopper and Nancy and Jonathan and all them, like, I will make sure that you kids are protected and whatnot. And about that time is where
Billy shows up.
Billy shows up, and all the kids are kind of looking out the window. They know that he's there. And I actually really love this part where Steve goes out.
This is a good part.
Yeah, Steve goes out and Billy gets out and he's like, "Oh, Harrington, like, you're here." And he goes, "What's up with, like, you with a bunch of kids and my sister out in a strange place?" Like, obviously he's insinuating some pretty strong
He's
accusations.
insinuating that Steve might be a kid diddler.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Even though, like, when you think of age, like, they're not that far apart. So it's kind of
No,
funny, like,
they're
you
not.
know,
Like he's in high school and they're in middle school. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, like, I understand, but at the same time, I'm kind of like,
Mm,
it's a little weird. Um, but we have that, and I love the scene where it's like, well, how do you know your sister, or your sister's not here? And Billy's steadily like smoking down a cigarette, and he pulls it out of his mouth and he goes, well, then who's that? And all four of the kids are
yeah.
like heads together looking out the window at the conversation.
It's their fault. It's their
And he
fault.
goes he goes he's like, oh shit. And Steve turns around to try and like mow it over, and right as he turns around, Billy pushes him over and starts beating him up.
Yeah. It's their fault that Steve got beat up. If
Yeah, I
they
mean,
if they would have stayed out the
curtains
window.
curtains were raised,
Yeah.
blinds weren't drawn. I mean, none of that stuff, like full, heads and everything. um so that happens. Billy gets inside,
Oh, this is an
again.
intense scene.
Well, and again, this is Billy being fucking racist.
Yeah.
Goes in and automatically goes after Lucas.
Yeah.
I thought I told you to stay away from my sister. I'll tell you one more time. And he grabs a hold of Lucas and walks over and pushes him against the shelf. Which, this is another thing that really bothered me in this scene, is that none of the other kids were going to try and help.
None of the other kids do anything.
Like, that really is what threw me off, because all the kids have come together so many times on like fighting a Demogorgon. Well, Billy's a regular fucking human being.
Yeah.
And so you guys are going to let Lucas get beat up because nobody can kind of like think about, hey, we should probably jump in here and help.
Maybe like grab something and whack him over the head with it or something.
Yeah, yeah. Which I thought maybe somebody might say something at some point. They didn't say anything,
or like
or whatever.
jump on his back and try to choke him out or something,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
something like it. I think it would have been a better scene if everybody tried jumping in and trying to help, and then Steve came in. But we don't really get that. We have where Lucas basically knees him in the balls, and he kind of backs up, and he's about to go back after him, and Steve comes in.
Cold cocks him.
He goes, "Hey, Billy," and Billy turns around and, like you said, cold cocks him, and Steve gets some pretty good fucking punches in on him.
He holds his own. Like, this is a pretty good fight. It's probably one of my favorite fights in this series.
Yeah, well, and it seemed a little weird that Billy wasn't really trying to fight back.
No, he was kind of like in the zone. Like, he loved, like, almost seemed like a little bit of a masochist almost.
Yes, yeah.
In this scene.
And then he hits him with a plate, which it seemed like it was turning into the comedy hour. He ends up grabbing a hold of Steve and basically like throwing him back into the living room where the kids are at.
He starts pummeling him.
Yeah. Basically beating the shit out of him again, as like you can kind of tell that Steve like has like blacked out.
Yeah, no, he gets knocked out.
Billy is still like attacking him. And then we have where Max actually acts and is like, I'm tired of being the scared child of this guy.
She sticks him.
And she sticks him with one of the things that they've been giving Will to knock him out. And she does it. And I'm assuming it's kind of because of the testosterone that Billy is still kind of like,
or there. Like the adrenaline.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, and like it seems to take like a good solid couple minutes.
Yeah, well, it hits his body, but he's still able to move his neck.
Yeah, or I was thinking maybe it was because like he was a lot bigger than Will.
That could be it too.
Like his like body mass, like it took a while to like take effect.
Yeah, or maybe it was getting to him and it went around the rest of his body, but not his head yet. So
because when they hit Will with it, they knock him out, right?
Yeah,
like he gets knocked out.
So Max ends up grabbing Steve's bat with the nails and stuff, and swings it down like pretty close to Billy's junk.
Yeah,
and she said basically like, I want you to know that you need to understand that I will take you out, because now she really has felt her oats. She goes, if you don't stay away from me and my friends, I will take you out. And she's yelling at him like he's basically yelled at her before. And she goes, do you understand And right before he passes out, he's like, "Yes, I understand."
Like Max is a fucking beast in this moment.
Yes, yeah.
Like I
So
love this scene. Like I love that she stands up for herself because she is so much in this season like a victim of abuse, and she stands up to
yeah,
her abuser. And I just love. It's a very powerful scene. I know it happens so fast, but it's a very like it's a very powerful scene, and it hits really well.
yeah,
Like it doesn't feel forced at all. I would say,
yeah.
unlike the
Um,
Avengers scene with all the girls in Avengers Endgame.
I don't know if I remember that
Remember,
at
the
the time.
girls got it covered,
Maybe.
and they all like
Um,
do like a pose in a scene, and they have to keep the gauntlet away or something like that. Yeah, it was
maybe.
a scene in Endgame.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't
You might
remember.
have to go back and watch
Um,
Endgame.
but we also forgot to bring up that they did get the demo dog that was actually in the house. And they put him in the refrigerator.
Yeah, because they wanted it for science.
Yeah, yeah. So that was pretty funny. Um, but Max just get the keys to Billy's car, and I think this is such a funny
Oh,
scene.
it's a good scene. It's
Uh,
comedy gold.
because she also has the little brick to like help her reach the pedal, which I thought was hilarious. But Steve ends up waking up in the
And
car,
then he's like,
like
What's going on,
all beat
Nancy?"
up, all this other stuff. He looks over at Mike, and because it's kind of blurry, he thinks that Mike looks like Nancy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he looks over at Dustin, and I love the fact that he's got like a bunch of little rips and cuts and shit in his face,
They put a
and
band-aid on him.
they have band-aid him like all over,
Yeah.
um, trying to like just help him out a little bit. Which I'm surprised his face wasn't more swollen, but
I mean,
you know,
he got
movie magic.
he got like Billy got him pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, movie magic.
Yeah.
But Max is driving the car. They're trying to figure out, Lucas is in the front with her, of where to turn at. And they're like, yo, you got to turn right here, right here. And this is a scene that I love too, because all the kids start yelling like, oh my God. And Steve is too, like they're on a roller coaster and they're about to die. So she takes out a mailbox and then whips it left real quick, as they head out to this
And,
farm.
and we hear Dustin scream like a little girl.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Um, and Max pulls up right to the hole of where this thing is.
Yeah. I
So
mean, she's a pretty good driver.
yeah, yeah,
Like for a kid, she's pretty good.
yeah. Which I would say before we go into the hole, we jump somewhere else. So
Okay.
uh we're at the cabin, and yes, we have like 3 heaters on Will. We see as Will wakes up, and this thing's like, what? We don't like the heat. We don't like the heat.
It
And
burns. It burns.
Joyce gets this really weird tick to herself, and she turns
Oh
up the heat
yes,
even
and
more.
it's like, so this is the first time I think we see it, but we see this at the end of the series as well,
Of
of
what?
her like getting flashes about terrible things that have happened
Oh yeah, yeah,
and like reacting to it like emotionally
yeah,
at this point, and she like goes on the offensive. Like they have a fire going as well, but she cranks up all those heaters because I think like
yes,
Jonathan, which Jonathan's a little bitch in this scene, gonna be honest. I get that his brother's in pain, but that's not his brother at the moment. That is
yeah.
not his
Well,
brother.
and I think that yes, that it was there, and I do think that Joyce does have that mindset still. But when they do see like the black start raising up, I think she also knows.
Yeah, like it's coming out.
Um, yeah, I think she knows, and so like that's where her cognitive dissonance comes out of it, where she's like, okay, this is not Will currently.
Yeah, because Jonathan very much was like, you're killing him, you're gonna kill him. And
Yeah,
she's like, fuck you, Jonathan, this is not my baby boy.
yeah.
And she like,
Which is funny that Jonathan said that about a few heaters. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah. I mean, they are close by to the will. And I get it, they do give off a lot of heat and they're all sweating in this room. But
but it's more like a sauna.
there's also a fire going.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like a sauna.
I guess, yeah. Uh, and
Which I do love in this scene as we jumped around. Like when they first got here and turned everything on, like nothing's going on, and then when we come back to this scene, all of them are sitting there like drenched in sweat, and you're like, they have been here for a little while,
yeah,
with all this shit on.
this scene reminds me of The Exorcist.
I agree.
Yeah, like
I agree.
I get big like Exorcist vibes from this scene right here. It's a pretty cool scene, you know, like I like
Yeah,
that we get like all the tension and stuff, like he breaks loose at one point, like
yeah,
and we get all the emotional stuff with Joyce seeing like Bob and like, you know, all the
yeah.
other stuff that
Well,
happened.
when he does break loose, he tries to like go over to his other hand to like pull the thing up from there, and Joyce kind of jumps on top of him.
Yeah.
And when that happens, is when Will's arm almost seems like it's possessed and starts choking Joyce
Oh
out.
yeah.
And this is where I think more so like what you're talking about with Jonathan kind of being a little bitch of he's like, well, what do I do? He freezes up, and Nancy like out of nowhere goes, oh, this thing's in the fire,
The
the
fire
poker,
poker.
and she takes out and sticks it into Will's side.
Yeah, I kind
And
of wonder if he maybe got like burned from that, like second degree burned or something like that.
I don't know.
You know, because she holds
Um,
it there for quite some time.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, it is enough for uh, Will's body to release Joyce. It's enough for part of the other things, and it's enough for basically them to scare the mind flayer out of Will, and it works.
Yeah,
Which that will come back later on that we know of in season 3, as we move forward. But really, we're kind of done with Jonathan, Joyce, Will, and Nancy at this current
yeah. No,
moment until
their
later
little
on.
story arc ends at this
Yeah.
point.
Which also kind of in this whole mess of things, we have where Hopper and Elle are at the Hawkins lab, and going down some of the stairs, they actually find Doctor
Owens.
Doctor Owens. I almost said Brenner. I was like, that's not the
No,
right one.
I get
That
them
is not
mixed
the
up
right one.
all together as
Yeah,
well. I get them mixed up all the time.
but we see Doctor Owens where he has finally, I guess, tried to get out from somewhere, and we know that he was attacked by demo dogs,
Oh,
most likely.
I wanted to bring up one scene, and it was
Okay.
before this, and it's with Hopper and Elle, where
Okay.
they're driving to the facility, and they're
Oh, and he tells
yeah,
her about
about
she looks like an MTV
yeah.
punk
She's looking at MTV Punk,
person.
and he starts to find out like, where have you been? She's like, oh, I took a truck to see Mama, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she's like, oh, I should have stayed, and you know, she finds out about Sarah at this point. And you know, like Sarah meant a lot to him, like the world to him, and you know, now she's gone, and like he doesn't know what to do with himself,
Right.
and he kind of feels like a new sense of life when he met 11, I would say, and
Right.
like they both broke the rules, you know, and they were both kind of in the wrong. But I really like this scene where they were just together.
Yeah.
They were just together and like with each other, and like it really felt like, you know, they really had that bond,
Yeah. Well,
you
and
know.
I think that this is also the scene where it really sets in for him how much he cares about her.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I think he cared about her, and I do think he was almost playing house originally with her, which is like, hey, that's why you can't go out, and why you can't do this, and why you can't do that, and why we have so many systems in place for her
yeah.
was because of all that. And it was more like he was being her babysitter than a parent.
as as a father, this scene was very relatable.
Yeah.
It was very
Um,
relatable. He was like, you got on a truck,
yeah,
a big
yeah,
truck, with a man, a very nice man, what?
yeah.
Like,
So, but I think all this stuff kind of goes together in the sense of what builds up for her,
yeah,
for him to actually accept her all the way as
yeah.
his child. Um, so yeah, I mean,
I mean, it leads
uh,
into this scene that we're getting into. That's why I wanted to mention it
no, you're fine.
with
Um,
not Printer Owens,
yeah,
Owens,
because I
and
mean, I mean, we do have to cover the whole thing where like she brings up like, "Hey, you lied to me about my mom" and
Yeah.
things as well. Which I also want to add on that, since you did bring this up, that I like this because I think, and only because I think not only are me and Mike very strong advocates for people in general, but we're also pretty strong advocates for men. And a lot of men, I think, do have this viewpoint that Hopper is that, and I'm going to say the thing, and then I'm going to jump over and say something else that I think most men hear a
I
lot.
think I know what you're gonna say.
But where he says, "I'm a black hole."
Yeah.
And the other
Yeah.
line that I want to relate to this is the thing that you hear most guys say, and it's been in Supernatural, it's been in, I think, Smallville, it's been in a lot of other things, but it's, "Hey, you're a man, you break everything you touch, so you can't
Yeah.
ever have anything nice."
Yeah, and that's basically what
And
the black hole is.
yeah. And so like we have that, and that's Hopper's mindset of, "Hey, I'm this black hole. If anything gets too close to me, it's going to break, it's going to get destroyed, it's going to disappear, it's going to do this." And it's all because of his kid, because of Sarah
Yeah.
and his relationship with Sarah's mom. I can't remember her name because she only gets mentioned once.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't remember what her name is.
and like a lot of other things of how it is, which I think also plays into part of the stuff of why he was so protective over Elle, and part of the other things moving forward, um, was just how a lot of this stuff is. So I think that it is a very pertinent part moving forward of why Hopper also does sometimes put himself farther out on the line than he needs to, because he does think, I could sacrifice myself and then it'll take care of the black hole,
Yeah.
not, that somebody does care even if I consider myself a black hole. So, I mean, I think that was not only the whole part about him knowing that he's lost his child, but also him seeing himself as this very destructive force that can't be loved or anything else. And, 11 kind of is there and kind of is proving that wrong, like, yes, I'm upset that you lied to me or whatever, but like, I missed you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really sets a lot of stuff in. And then they get that one thing of bitching,
Yeah, bitch. And he's like, I guess so.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we get that. And then hopping back, we did find Owens, tells us like what's going on. Hopper's got a couple of guns and is like, "Hey, we got to walk through um here to get down to the thing," which I don't ever think that they actually got into a thing with a demo dog at all, right?
No, I don't think so. Because I think they were all near the hole, right?
I think so, but I also think that they were down in the tunnels before the kids actually fully got down there.
Probably. Because they do see the demo
Um,
dogs when they get to like that little part in the facility.
yeah, but we get that. Then hopping back to the kids going down in the hole or pulling up to the hole out in the fields, which also, because this is our last episode, will tie strongly into Tales of 85 that we will cover when it starts coming out in April.
Yeah.
Um, which is, it comes out on the 23rd, which is exactly a month from our record day today.
The pumpkins.
The pumpkins. Um, but everybody starts getting out of the car. They're getting this gear on. They're not really listening to Steve at all.
Yeah.
And, they all start getting ready to go down there. And Steve's still telling them, like, "Hey, no, you can't do this." And then I loved where Dustin's like, "Steve, like, you said you were going to protect us and do all this. You can still do that." And Dustin pulls out like a bandana for his face and a pair of goggles, which is where we get the scene from in a lot of the media of where he's dressed up with all the kids being the babysitter.
Yeah.
Um,
I,
so
I
they all
love
go
that they all
down.
have different goggles on.
Oh, I love that too. And then the scene coming up, like, so they all get down there. They're all like, "Yeah, we're going to try and find this area." Um, and I love where everybody kind of goes forward, and it looks like, and I feel like I'm channeling you when I watch this part, but Dustin's kind of pulling up last, and he looks up, and there's this big thing that kind of looks like
A
in
butthole.
season 5, if you've seen it, it looks like the mind flayer's actual heart, and it's above, and you see it, and it looks like it's like vibrating and pulsing, but then it opens up, and it looks like a butthole.
It looks like a butthole.
And then you just see it kind of like shoot out this ash confetti stuff, and
It farted on him.
Dustin starts screaming bloody murder. Oh my god, it got in my mouth. Oh
Oh
my god. And they come back over, and he's like, oh, I'm fine. Like, he freaked himself out a lot more than he needed to.
I mean, I feel like we would all get freaked out in that position.
Well, I'm just really confused because he had the bandana on. Was the fart from the butthole that strong that it knocked his bandana off too?
Well, I don't think there was anything like connecting it at the bottom, so I don't know how well the bandana was working.
Well, I thought it like pushed it all the way down, because when we see him and he's spitting or whatever, it's actually around his neck.
Maybe, I don't know.
So I was a little unsure of how that exactly happened, but it's just funny that we're getting a lot of these scenes where now, instead of him like trying to portray like the pissed off man or whatever that Steve kind of led him to believe, to try and
he's
court
back
Max.
to like a kid.
Yeah, he's back to being like a strong little kid where he's like, oh my god, there's stuff going on. Because I mean, he just keeps yelling in this last episode. Like,
don't worry, it'll change eventually.
Yeah, it will change. But they do that. They end up running into Dart, and Dustin knows that it's Dart because of this big yellow spot on its butt.
Yeah, I love this scene. I love this scene because the others are freaked out.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, Dart, it's okay. It's me. I brought you a little snack. Yeah. And so they were able to get by the Demogorgon because of
the
Demodog with some nougat.
Yeah.
No, it's
which fun. I love that. That's one of the scenes that really like is very upsetting too. Is that like that Dart did have some kind of feeling towards Dustin. At least we hope. I mean, you can't really exactly say.
Or he just wanted the candy.
Yeah, he might have just wanted the candy. And it's weird to me thinking that Dustin did that, and he like turns around and he's like, oh, thanks, Dart, for like letting us pass or whatever.
Yeah.
Not knowing about full well that they're about to kill him off, kill Dart and the rest of them off by burning this thing and closing the gate.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like this weird like homage. I feel like Dustin saying goodbye because it was almost like Dustin was hoping that Dart would still be around. He would just kind of change his ways instead of actually like dying.
Who knows? What if he shows up in Tales of 85?
Ooh, I don't think so, but that would be cool.
I don't think so either, but that would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have this scene and they burn everything up underground.
Yes.
It's a pretty cool scene.
It is.
Yeah.
It really reminds me of like some of the movies or whatever where you see people with like a bunch of flamethrowers and they're like, we got to clear everything out. So they start burning everything around them.
Yeah.
Which is funny to me why a lot of people always alternate to fire, because you have things like that. And then you get into some like alien type movies or whatever, where they kind of plan the same thing and go, everything burns on fire.
I mean, and then they're not wrong.
And they actually pull the fire out and then it like makes it stronger. That's some of the things that always makes me laugh in movies where it's like, we tried to take it out this way, but we ended up actually making it stronger.
So
shit.
We finally get to like, I guess the penultimate event in this season.
Yes.
Where Hopper and Elle go down into like the shaft where the hole is. It's a pretty cool scene. Like they're stuck in midair. She goes to close the gate and there's like Demodogs coming left and right. Like no tomorrow. Like these Demodogs are coming.
Yes.
Yeah, and you find out she can float. Elle can float.
Yeah, if she channels good enough, she can kind of float, yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty powerful scene, I feel like.
And we have another shadow tentacle come out from the mind flare on the other side in the upside down, trying to get at her and Hopper, essentially, um, for um, to kind of stop Elle from closing the gate.
Yeah, but that does not work.
So Hopper's kind of got her 9 and her 6 on taking out these Demodogs as they're walking up the sides of the wall in this vertical shaft. Um, and Hopper's taking them out left and right. Different things are going on. The tentacle happens, and we kind of get this weird conglomeration of everything where, um, the where they get Will, they get the thing out from him. We also have where all of the stuff in the tunnels is on fire, which cripples it pretty good as well.
It's like a
And
three-pronged attack.
I think it gives Elle enough to actually push through and push the mind flayer back into the upside down and close the gate.
When we got to this point, or when I got to this point in the episode,
Yeah.
because I was running a little late for recording, and I paused it, and I was like, how much time do I have left? 30 fucking minutes.
Yeah, just about.
I was like, we could have probably ended it here. That would have been nice. But I do like the scenes that we get after this.
Yeah. So we get these pivotal moments of everything, and then we get the quietness
Yeah.
of all the stuff. We get where after all the events,
Everybody knows about the lab.
everybody knows about the stuff with the lab because it's like 1 month later. The lab ends up getting shut down
Barb gets her funeral.
because of Murray. Yeah, Barb finally gets her funeral, and it is thrown on the lab, and the lab does take full responsibility for a lot of this stuff. Hopper does get to meet Owens at a restaurant again, so he did end up surviving.
Which he ends up adopting 11.
Yes. And then basically like, hey, just wait on some things for this because while 11 is technically still out there, like you still need to wait. And he makes like a special condition for her of like letting things loose, like, hey, she gets like a specific night to go out and some other things like that. On special nights and whatnot, which I think this is more so where Hopper and Joyce end up sticking together a lot more because Joyce is still kind of like, I can't let Will out of my sight, which is what she's done almost this entire season. And Hopper is kind of that way with Elle, which I think is where they've connected more, especially after Bob and everything.
But I love this whole scene that's coming up.
And then we get into this scene that you're talking about, or like this whole little section.
The kids getting ready for the dance.
Yeah, which is the snowball dance.
Yeah, which plays a pivotal moment later on in the series too. But I love this scene. We see them getting ready for the dance. Like Lucas is trying to do pickup lines for Max. We find out that Dustin's mom has a new cat.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Nice to see. They're all getting ready. Mike doesn't really want to take pictures. Then we've got to bring out the video camera and stuff like that. And then
Max's hair is getting done.
Dustin prepares for his hair.
Yeah, he gets picked up by Steve.
Yeah, he does. And
which
go ahead.
I have a thing for you on this, right?
Okay.
So after Steve picks him up and Steve takes him to the dance, and he does Dustin does that whole fucking little thing, and Steve's like, please Lord, don't do that. And I'm just kind of like, how many times did Lucas tell him that? And he just is kind of like, fuck you, Lucas, on every time Lucas told him that. And yet when Steve tells him to not do it, he's like, yeah, 100%.
Well, he even does that when 11 shows up at the beginning.
Yes, yeah. And it freaks her out. She like gives him a weird look like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because she was surprised he had teeth.
Yeah, yeah. You have
No,
teeth.
but I love this scene. I love this scene a lot. It's a fun scene where they all get to the dance and like one by one they like get paired
Well,
off.
and we also see where Steve looks in at Nancy and he's like, okay, and he goes off.
Yeah,
Which I kind of want to know where he went after that because
he probably went to go drink or something. I'm
yeah,
guessing.
or maybe that's when like the thing in the '85 trailer that we see where he can't remember who the person is.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe that's how he finds that girl.
But yeah, I love the scene. So like somebody asks, I think Will to dance, and Will doesn't know what to do at all. He's kind of shocked somebody asked him to dance. Then Max and Lucas go start dancing, and I think this doesn't 11 show up to the dance.
Yeah, so not at this point yet.
Okay,
They're dancing to this song, and Dustin goes and asks this one specific
I
girl
think
that we
it's
actually do see
Stacy.
later on. Yeah, we see her later on, and then he kind of goes towards a couple other
He
people
gets rejected so hard.
that are there, and he gets rejected. So he goes behind this one little curtain area where he's like, you know what, I'm just going to go back here, and he ends up being sad about it. But Nancy had caught him looking around, and I guess whatever like her shift of like punch or whatever was over, and so she actually went and found him, and she goes, "Come on, let's go dance." And like that's a big pivotal scene. I feel like,
I
and
actually really like this scene.
yeah,
I really like this scene because, like, I mean, the kids are kind of portrayed as, I don't want to say losers, but losers to like the rest of the class.
yeah.
Like
Well,
freaks.
and especially Dustin
Yeah,
because, and we find that out more, especially with him being like the valedictorian
yeah,
and whatnot. Like the big nerdy kid usually isn't the most popular kid.
yeah. And at this point, like Nancy puts puts her neck out there for Dustin at this point, which is a really sweet scene. And like she teaches him how to dance and stuff, and like everybody is looking at them.
Yeah.
Like even like the girl who rejected him, she's like, "Damn, like maybe I shouldn't have
How
rejected
did he
him.
pull how did he pull her?
How'd he pull her?" Like it's just a very fun scene, especially when you think about back in season one. Dustin had a crush on Nancy.
Yeah. Hey
Yeah,
Nancy, we got one slice of pizza left.
yeah. What's this last pizza? I mean,
Yeah.
he got the dance. He got the dance, and he got the
But
girl for the night.
I mean the other thing is Nancy went through her own trip so much that I
Yeah.
think that made it pertinent for her to understand what Dustin was going through. And I think that also goes back to where she was trying to be a people pleaser
Hmm.
when she wanted to be with Steve, which is kind of where Barb ended up essentially getting killed at.
Yeah.
So I think like she knows this, and she doesn't really care about the other girls or whatever, but she does
No.
care about Dustin. It's kind of like, hey, I'm going to make sure that Dustin is taken care of.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a nice, sweet scene. I really like the scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
his suit, his outfit,
yeah,
fire. It's fire.
yeah. But
I like it.
he does get that Farrah Fawcett spray out
Yeah, he
though.
does get it out. He cleans up nice.
Yeah. So we do that. We jump out to the parking lot real quick, which Joyce is standing there. Hopper walks up and he pulls out a cigarette. They make a joke about one of the people that used to be a chaperone for them because he's like, I'm pretty sure Mr. Whatever retired in the 70s, so he can't get on to us about the smoking out here. And he's smoking. You can tell Joyce hasn't smoked in a long time because she starts coughing and whatnot. And they just talk about the kids, really.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and that basically, like, I know that it sucks, like all the stuff that we've went through again with Will and things like that. But like between that and Bob's death, like, it'll get a little easier as time goes on.
Yeah, no. I mean,
So,
it's a really nice scene as well.
um, but then of course, like Mike, which I don't know why Dustin didn't necessarily just go back over and sit down by Mike, but Mike is kind of sitting over at the table that they were originally at, and he's waiting as 11 ends up walking through the door.
Yes.
for her to go to the ball as well.
Yeah, it's a very well done scene.
Yeah, and like there's little kind of like hidden gems in this too. Like she's got Sarah's hairband as like a bracelet, which is kind of like our whole thing of knowing that Hopper has fully accepted Elle as kind of his daughter, taking over for Sarah.
Yeah.
Um, her and Mike go up and dance. Um, and I love this scene too where they're talking and she's like, I don't know how to dance. And Mike's like, I don't know either. Let's just go do it together.
Yeah.
So we get that, and then again, we get one of the things that you and I love about this series
The
until
music.
they're gonna stop it next. I think the last ones happen next season,
Oh, yeah, where they flip the whole gym
but
upside down.
they start flipping the camera, and you get the dark side. You get the upside down version of the gym. So there's the banners are all fucked up. It's dark, all this other stuff, and you see as the red lightning is coming down and that the mind flayer is still there,
Yeah.
and it is basically looking over the gym on the upside down
Yeah.
side.
No, I really like this episode.
Yeah so yeah, I mean, that was, I think, a really good way to end it. Of course, like the little bit of the mind flayer that was in Will that got out, like that'll play a role um in the
Next season. Next
the
season.
next season, which is weird that it took so long, but because we kind of
Yeah.
have a mind
'Cause
flayer on both sides.
isn't there like a big gap in between recording?
Yes, so season 1 and season 2 were like a year apart. Season 2 to season 3 were like 3 years. Season 3 to season 4 were 3 years, and then season 4 to season 5 was like 5 years.
All right, that's insane.
Yeah, so I mean, there was a lot of different wiggle room as it happened. And season 3, I think, is the last one where we have talked about it. We get to kind of enjoy the kids being kids
Yeah. Yeah.
before we get into some of the strange shit with season 4 and season 5, and the kids start looking not so much like the kids.
Yeah. I think, what was it? They're the age that Steve was in season 1.
Yeah, in season 5, they're the age that Steve was.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought this was a really well put together episode. It definitely brings everything together. That's one thing I feel like they do well with their seasons and episodes, the season finales, is they're strong episodes.
Yes.
They're strong episodes and they tie everything together. They have a lot to tie together.
Yes. I
Now,
agree.
will that happen in the last season? That's debatable.
Who knows?
It's debatable, but yeah, no, strong season. I feel like I think this was a really fun rewatch for this
I think
season.
so too.
Yeah,
I think so too. I also really like enjoyed a lot of stuff that happened in this season, just because, like we've talked about, season 1, 2, and 3 are uh, honestly the best seasons. Like there may be some cool shit that happens in season 4 and season 5, but none of it really is pertinent to the story as well as these, because we do get those aspects of like they're still kids and things like that, and we don't do this whole weird thing like we did get it this season, but like people leaving Hawkins, and I think that's the big pivotal moment of a lot of things happen that are bad when you leave Hawkins. So
yeah.
um yeah, I mean, this one overall I think was totally amazing. Now, like we said, was this episode like better than some of the other ones we watched? Not exactly. Um, but it was still pretty high up there.
I like it that it had more of a concise plot.
Yeah, yeah.
That was for me. It was like, like everything was coming together, and like you think it's done with, but then it's not done with.
Yeah,
It's like they
yeah.
almost like reset after each season.
Yeah, and I think they did that for a reason because they were almost like, well, we may not get another season.
Yeah.
Of course, probably at season 4, they knew they were going to have a season 5, but obviously they were like, well, we're not going to work on this exactly
Yeah.
yet. So,
Looking forward
um,
to Tales from '85. Comes out soon.
oh no shit, I can't wait for that. And of course, at some point, we also have. I don't know if it will be a play format or if it will be
I think it's gonna be the play, and they're filming it.
okay.
Yeah.
When we get what's the first shadow?
Yeah. For Shadow.
Yeah. That we'll record at some point as well, which obviously like that one I'm not too worried about us being out of order on because it is the first shadow and it could
Yeah.
technically have happened at any fucking time in the events of what we're watching right now or before. So we'll do that and everything, and then I don't know if we're gonna hop straight into season 3 or give it a little break, or if we'll cover season 3 for you guys after 85 and then take a break after that before getting into seasons 4 and 5 a little later on. Because yes, I do believe that Mike and I love Stranger Things out the wazoo.
I do love Stranger Things,
But
but I think I might need a little bit of a break.
yeah. So I mean, we may, like I said, we may do Tales of 85 and then basically record the first Shadow when that one actually comes out and season 3. And then we will probably, like I said, take a little break and get back to this after like the Burrows come out towards the end of the year. Just so we can cover some of the other things that we love, like anime and some other comics and stuff like that.
I
Because
mean, second issue of White Skies coming out this month.
that's true.
Just
That is
saying.
true. So yeah, I mean there is a lot of pertinent stuff.
I finally got my issue for issue 1 of White Sky. If you don't know that, we went on Dan Comic Corner, his underrated indies spotlight
Yes,
that he does, his show, and we read White Sky is one of the things that we read, and we were like,
yes.
we should talk about this on the podcast.
So we're probably going to cover that and the other weird one.
Oh, Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre
Yeah, Florida hippopotamus cocaine massacre.
and
Yeah,
Dork.
and Dork at some point. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we do have a lot of other cool things that are coming down the pipeline for you guys. So obviously stick around for all that shit because it is good shit. I also just got back from GaryCon, so if you want to check anything out on that, have a conversation with me on that or whatever. Me and Mike actually just debriefed on me doing that and all the cool
it
things that
was
I
a
got to
long
attempt.
debriefing.
It was a long debriefing. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of other things that are coming down thing, and you can find me at Bard's Tavern on Instagram. You can find me over there on TikTok as well. Anywhere that you can look on my link tree with a bunch of other cool shit that I'm attached to. Um, Stay tuned because I will try and start working on my YouTube a little more. Hopefully to get some other content out there for you guys that not only that we already cover, but a little extra stuff for Bard's Tavern and stuff like that. You can find me also where everywhere that Otakuology is, just like you can find Mike everywhere where Otakuology is. I will let Mike tell you where else you can find him.
Oh yeah. You can find me at the Otaku Mike on Instagram or YouTube, where I do all of my comic book stuff like reviews, hauls, hunting videos, stuff like that.
Did you say hunting
Yeah,
videos?
hunting videos, like hunting for comic books.
Okay, I was like, when did you start hunting, and what season did you start hunting for?
You know,
Like, yeah.
comic book season with the rascally comic books.
I was like, at some point, you're going to send me a picture of like a deer you shot, and I'm going to be like, what the fuck? I mean, I thought you said you were doing hunting, but I didn't think it was that kind.
I will say, I started watching Rising of the Shield Hero.
Yeah.
I know we covered that on our podcast.
Yeah, for the manga.
The manga. I started watching the anime.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I like it up to the Japanese season. So
I haven't watched. Well, they only have season 1 on Netflix, so
yeah.
I haven't. I'm like 10 episodes in, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
But
But
anyways, yeah, you can find me there. You know, you can catch us. Make sure to rate and review the podcast. Check us out on YouTube, where we have a bunch of more shows out there and stuff like that. You know,
right.
it's well worth
And
their time.
yeah, and obviously send us message and ask us questions and shit like that.
Yeah,
Because we like doing shit like that. And we also like to pick people's brains and have people pick our brains, like what we think, because yeah, we do like to pick each other's brains, but sometimes there's a different insight out there.
we also like to pick each
Uh
other's noses
Not all the time. We
sometimes.
also like touch tips. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for listening to our final episode of season 2, episode 9 for Stranger Things The Gate. And we will catch you guys in another time and place. See you next Tuesday.